Hey there, YouTube! Welcome back to Artichoke Dip. My name is Rob, solo tabletop gamer. And in this video, I'm going to talk about, well, some things we can do to game on the cheap. But before I get into this video, if you liked the video, click the like button. And if you have not subscribed, please click that subscribe button, followed by the bell icon. Every time I upload a brand new video, you will hear about it. So, it seems like every time we turn on the television, it goes from bad to worse. It's gotten to the point that when I hear that word, coronavirus, I want to strangle the life out of somebody. I am so sick of hearing about it. I am so sick of the doom and gloom and doom and gloom. And then, to make matters worse, they just said, well, it looks like, we're going to be in a recession. So what does that mean for the rest of us? Well, we know what that means. We know that means things are going to have to cut way back. And some things we're going to lose. It means lifestyle changes. It means all kinds of things that, well, I guess the easiest way I could put this to you is it's so simple to move forward, but it's so hard to go back. And unfortunately, that's what we're all facing. But I don't think your gaming has to suffer as a result of that. And I got some tips to give you to, help you weather the storm and get through this dark time we're going through. So the first thing is I want to talk about with solo RPG. And I've talked about this before, and I'm going to talk about it again. Now, if you've noticed, one of the videos I uploaded, because a lot of people said, hey, I really like that playlist. And some of it was copyright-free music that I had found on YouTube for creators to use. And I thought, hey, these are cool tracks, and they work real well with gaming. They set that ambient mood, and they help my mind concentrate on gaming and allow my imagination to flourish and enjoy the gaming. And a couple of the others were tracks that I have actually wrote. And at the time when I wrote them, I didn't realize, I had a different mindset when I wrote them. And it wasn't until later that a couple of people said, hey, these make really good gaming tracks. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And so I had put those into my gaming list and made them. So with that being said, music is a really, really good way to heighten the solo RPG experience. Now, I use ambient music. I enjoy a lot of instrumental music. Now, not to say I don't like regular rock and roll and classic rock, because I do. I love it. I'm a huge fan of Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin. That era of rock is just awesome, and I love it, and I can never get enough of it. All the way to the point to sitting down and actually learning the songs and playing them, because I love them so much. But depending on what kind of gaming I'm doing will dictate what kind of music. And as some of you that have been subscribers of mine from the beginning of the channel, you know that I used to incorporate a lot of music tracks into my videos, from Alice in Chains to Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and then YouTube came with the whole copyright thing and said, all right, you keep it up, we're going to make your channel go dark, so you got to quit it. So I had to cut it out. But that doesn't mean you have to. YouTube is a great tool. It really is. Particularly for music. And I'm sure you already know that. If you're watching me on YouTube, you know that. But the fact that there are so many different playlists out there that will really help heighten your gaming experience. They will help your mind click and really get into the game that you're playing, and help that, I'm going to say, the precious amount of time. Because let's face it, I think everybody's life has been impacted. I know mine has. Instead of running up to my local grocery store and being able to get all my grocery needs in one store, now I have to go to multiple different stores just to get my grocery list, because everything is so chaotic. So that's taking less time. So the time that I do have for gaming, I really want it to be good quality time. And one of the ways that you could do that is by using music. once your brain hears that music, once you find a playlist that you really like listening to do gaming with, your brain's going to click on and say, okay, this is gaming time. And it's good. It's excellent for that because it helps us drown out all of this madness that's going on around us and kind of let us escape for a little while and take a short break from it, give our brains a rest, and let us focus on something that we enjoy. So, music is an excellent way to do that. And if you haven't made, a playlist and saved it to your YouTube to where you could pull it up and play it in the background while you're playing RPG, I highly suggest you do. Check it out. There is tons out there. I mean, you can, YouTube Dungeons and Dragons music or Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven even has its own playlist for the game. I've listened to it, and a lot of it's pretty decent. Some of it is a little too ambient for me. It's almost borderline like relaxation sleeping music. But for the most part, it's pretty decent music to listen to for gaming. And then there's those times where I play other games to where I don't want to listen to ambient music. I want to listen to Houses of the Holy or Dark Side of the Moon or, oh my gosh, pull out the old Black Sabbath and slap that in, or Iron Maiden, or, Metallica, one of those, and let it go and be able to just delve into that. So that's one thing that we can use. It's free. We have it at our disposal. It's there. And it's a great tool that we have, and utilize it for your gaming. That's one of the ways that we can go to help, curb that cost. Because let's face it, money's going to get tight here pretty soon. And we're not going to have those extra dollars and cents that we've been enjoying lately, considering everything's going to slow down and the price of everything's probably going to go up here pretty soon for the demand. So the second thing is, when it comes to your three-dimensional gaming, whether you're Theater of the Mind and you enjoy Theater of the Mind in two-dimensional maps, or if you're like me and you really like the hobby of minis and creating terrain and stuff like that, it really doesn't have to suffer. There are very, believe it or not, cheap ways that you can make three-dimensional terrain on the cheap, very cheaply, using cardboard, using my mind went blank there for a moment, styrofoam board you can buy at the dollar store for cheap, and you can get a big thing of this, and you're only limited to your imagination. A few bucks, a little bit of paint, some elbow grease, and you can make those terrains. Or you could do something else that I have seen other people do that is just awesome. If you have artistic ability, I had seen this one girl, and she made her maps for her RPG games for her group. But she would buy huge sheets, like on a roll of paper. And she would actually go through there and draw all the hexes in for the miniatures, then go through and actually draw the map and go back through and color this in with coloring pencil. And it was just amazing to look at. And she had great artistic skill, she really did. And the maps really looked like they popped when you put the minis on there. And it cost her next to nothing except for her time that she had. And it's another good way, excuse me, that we can utilize that, using our artistic abilities for our solo RPG to help get our minds off of this, help kind of turn the nut box off for a while. That's what I call it. Seems like every time we turn it on, there's another nut on television telling us why we should worry and panic. Now, please don't misconstrue what I am saying. This is serious. What we have going on is very serious. But there also comes a fine line to where we also have to realize that we have a life, we have a family, we have hobbies, we have other interests, and there is this huge, shit sandwich going around the world that everybody has to take a freaking bite of. I don't know how else to put it, but that's the way it is. And we just need a way to distress. that can be another way to help you out as well. Get a little creative. Get some cheap art supplies and make some of your terrains. Now, I know for me, I'm set on terrains, and I'm not saying that to brag. I have been collecting this stuff for years. And unfortunately, this trend that we have seen, particularly with the board gaming, and I have done some reviews of board games on my channel, like Gloomhaven and the D&D sets and so on and so forth. I'm not going to really sit here and name all of those off, but you know what I'm talking about. They come with all the cool miniatures, and they come with the tiles, and you can put all that stuff in there. But what had wound up happening was, in the early stages of this, $20 would get you a decent amount of miniatures. And then when the board gaming part of this took off, particularly the solo variant of it, with miniatures and everything, we saw the price of miniatures just go way up, to the point to where there's miniature games out there. I seen on, was it Game Board Geek? I can't even remember the name of this game system that I saw. It's irrelevant. And they were taking pre-orders on a Kickstarter. $500. $500 for plastic miniatures and some game tile. It's like, really? Seriously? I mean, but hey, if you have the financial backing to be able to throw money at it like that, hey, game on. But for the vast amount of us out there, we don't. So we have to look to do stuff on the cheap to be able to get us through this hard time. So miniatures can be expensive, and they can be getting more expensive. But there's also an opportunity there too. So a lot of people will be looking to sell that stuff on eBay and other sites at a reasonable price to get rid of it if you got the extra money to purchase it. But if you don't, well, here's a simple solution to using minis, particularly if you don't have a lot of counter minis, but you want a three-dimensional representation on the board. Use some dice. Grab some of these suckers. Now, believe it or not, I use, if you're wondering, I'm not sick. We're here in Michigan right now, and we just had like this drastic weather change from where it felt like it was getting ready to snow to it almost feels like it's getting warmer out there right now, and the wind's picking up. So this time of year we have a thing that I like to call Michigan sinus. That's what it is. And it'll be with us until about May or June. So anyways, dice. And I like to use these for encounters. Now, what I do with these is I'll take a different color, whether you're using white or you're using, your typical, your red six-siders. I'm sure you've seen those. Some games you get black D6s or your D&D polyhedral sets, whatever you have. What I like to do is take these suckers and place them on the map to keep track of my encounters. Because what I can do is write down on a piece of paper. So if I'm encountering, let's say, 6 orcs, and we'll say there is a orc warlock, or an orc sorcerer, however you want to look at that, or witch doctor, whatever. A magic class orc, depending on the game system you're playing. So I could say, okay, these 6 white dice, 1 through 6, are these guys, and put my hit points to it. And then if I have that one figurine, there's the sorcerer. He is at that point, the chieftain or the in-boss, however you want to put it, of that encounter. And it'll help curb your spending. It's stuff you already have, stuff that can already be used, throw it out on the game board, and heighten your gaming experience. Another thing too, that, believe it or not, so you can how do I put this? You can spend a lot of money on buying name brand miniature stuff, particularly anything that has the name D&D stamped on it or Pathfinder or whatever else. You know, they're going to jack the price up. Do your due diligence, search around for a little bit, and check out train modeling, believe it or not, or diorama. I almost said diarrhea. Diorama scenery for dioramas or train setups, and you're going to find that a lot of trees and stuff like that are reasonably cheap, under 12 bucks, 12 to 18 bucks, and you get like a half a dozen or better in a package. Let me show you here one second. I didn't plan on this in the video, so I should have pulled it out beforehand, but I didn't. So these guys right here are actually made for a train set scenery. I had bought these years ago, early 2000s, and they came in a package of, I want to say, 4. I think it was a package of 4 at the time. I can't remember. It's irrelevant. Anyways, I picked up 2 packages, and I think altogether it was under 20 bucks at the time for them. And I was huge into HeroScape. And at that time, HeroScape hadn't released these trees yet, which are for the game. But we talked about how cool it would be to be able to have actual trees on the battle map, to be able to add some more element to it of cover and line of sight and stuff like that. So I picked these up, and I had taken some of the single little, at that point, geo chip, I guess you would call it, and super glued them to the base and used them over and over. We used these for quite a bit, and I've had these since then. I mean, these are old, and I still use them still to today, and I love them. And it just shows you, just using a little bit of resourcefulness, and don't be afraid to use your imagination a little bit, some elbow grease, and a little bit of creativity, and you can make some really cool stuff. So there's another way that you can save money with, well, things starting to dry up, but not having to worry about your gaming suffering as a result of it. So another thing we can look at. One thing that I guess I should tell you, I have a lot of gaming stuff, and I haven't even talked about all the gaming stuff that I have. And so a lot of times when I talk to you guys about stuff and I say, hey, you know, I'm going to review this, I'm going to talk about it, it's something that I am currently playing, and I think, hey, this would be really good solo, so let's talk about it. Or something that I have to admit, I am just blown away that Kevin Siembieda does this, but Kevin Siembieda will send me stuff from time to time and say, hey, you know, here you go. Thinking of you, check this out, and, you know, see what you think. And I will present it to you and talk to you guys about it and say, hey, you know, this is out there, this is cool, and let you guys have, you know, be aware that it's out there on the market. So be very leery. Don't think you have to run out and keep buying a brand new RPG system. Kind of look at what you have. See what you can alter. See what you can take. Perhaps there's something about this particular RPG system that you do like, but you don't like so much about this. But over here, out of this RPG system, there's something you really like about this, but you don't like about that. So there's an easy way to be able to save money and make those work. First thing is, decide what system you're really comfortable playing. That's the key to solo RPG. It really is. If you're comfortable with the D6 system, stick with the D6 mechanic. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like a D20 system, stick with it. Don't venture off. Spend money that you may be well spent on something else that you need as a necessity, that you're already comfortable with this system. Take that system, and at that point, the other one, take them changes, put it together, meld it. Make that game yours. Because after all, that's what solo RPGing is about. It's about the solo experience. It's about being able to delve into a storyline, into a character, go into areas of the gaming that most gaming groups won't allow you, because there's so many different people at that game table that want to go and check this out, or want to take the story here, or want to fight, this person just to be the person in the group that likes to stir stuff up and create animosity amongst everybody. So make it your own. If there's something about the game maybe you don't like, maybe there's a character class that's not offered that's in another game system, convert it. Use a little bit of elbow grease and creativity and make it work. It'll help save you money, and it'll heighten your game experience. It'll give you that sense of, it's not accomplishment, but a sense of creativity and a sense of you're able to weave this to the way that you want. And you don't feel as if you're restricted by the rules. That's the one thing that I think I have to say that I notice a lot of people like to argue about. Well, these are the rules. This is the rule. It's right here. It's the rule. It has to be. It has to be. No, it doesn't. As a matter of fact, if you read any RPG book and you read that fine print, it'll tell you, hey, if there's anything in here you don't like, get rid of it. Don't use it. Use what you want. This is about having fun. It's not about having basically a rule lawyer there that's going, don't get that thought out of your head. Just get rid of it. Don't abide by it. Use what you like. Use what you like and apply that to your gaming. And you're going to find gaming's going to become more fluid. It's going to become, solo gaming particularly, more second nature to you. I'll be honest with you, I have played in large game groups. I have played with two other players where, you got Game Master and then me and another person. I have GM'd and had one person, two people. I have to admit my most memorable and best game sessions I've ever had have been solo. They've always been solo. And when I look back on those, what made those so memorable, what made those game sessions great was the fact that I did not limit myself to rules. I did not, at that point, adhere to everything that's written in this book, following it to the exact letter of the law as to the way it was written. Because it was never, RPG games were never intended for that. RPG games are a good catalyst for your imagination, to unlock your imagination, to tell a story. Your characters are just that, characters in the story. And with our random tables, as they unfold, adds that suspense, mystery, and sometimes those total party kills that just crush us so much. But that's what makes RPG so fun. So there's another way that will help you save some money with what's going on. I have to say, if I had one other thing I could really sum up to say, hey, how could I save money and still keep my hobby? Well, one thing that could help curb your expense. If you have a computer, try keeping notes on your computer. That will, help you from buying notepads, spending money on pencils and notepads and having that stuff everywhere. That's one way you could go about doing it. Me personally, I don't like PDF files. I don't like storing stuff on my computer because it goes into a file, I forget about it, and it's not there. I put stuff in paper, I know where it's at, it goes in a loose leaf binder that's labeled, and I have it. That's me. But that's one way you could also curb expense, using your computer, using the technology that you have to help curb some of that. Another thing is to help curb some of those expenses, because let's face it, our hobby's expensive. It is. It's an expensive hobby, and all hobbies are expensive. It doesn't matter what you're into. I don't care if you enjoy building hot rods, or you like firearms, or gaming, or archery, or whatever it is you're into. There's an expense that comes with it to be able to keep that hobby going. So when we run into rough times like this, our hobbies tend to suffer. But with solo RPG, we're lucky. We're lucky because we have this basic rule set that says, hey, this is what you need to make this character. These are the encounters your characters are most likely going to face in this world. The world's up to you. You make the world. You make the changes. You create it the way that you want it, to have fun with it. So there is I'm hoping this helps. I really do, because I was thinking about this today when I heard they said, hey, we're going into a recession again. And I'm like, for those of us in the States, we have just got back on our feet. We have just finally had that sense of security again. And now it looks like it's going to be ripped out from underneath us. And which makes the future so uncertain. And I know for a lot of my fellow Americans out there, that's just not what you want to hear. We've already went through some pretty rough times, and it looks like it's going to get even rougher ahead. So, but as gamers, we're resilient. We bounce back. We figure out ways to be resourceful and figure out ways to make things work. And that's what's cool about this hobby, is it's almost like, how do I put this? I don't want to use the word brotherhood, because men and women enjoy this hobby all alike. It's more or less like a universal interest, I guess you could say, that everybody, they get it. When you enjoy RPG games and you sit down and you play an RPG game and you can really get into that character and you understand it, and when you see somebody else going through those same emotions as you, they understand as well. And it's like this huge cognitive cloud that people are all like, I get it. I understand. I get it. It's hard to put into words, but I get it. I understand how you like to geek out on this, because I like to geek out on it too. And it's very cool, from the bottom of my heart, to all of you guys out there from the US and over there in the UK and all across the world. All of you people that give me your great comments, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. It really does. At the end of the day, it's very humbling to me that I kind of feel as if I'm just an average Joe during the day, and I make videos and talk about how I enjoy solo RPG and creating worlds and playing RPGs, and how you guys enjoy that information and use that, and it helps you guys be able to forge your own worlds and your own game sessions, and how you invite me into your homes, onto your TVs, your tablets, and your phones, and watch me. It's very humbling from the bottom of my heart, guys, to all of you out there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means a lot. And I'm just going to say to all of you guys out there, I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all doing fine. You're all safe and healthy, and everything is going well. I really do. And I will keep you all in my prayers. I kind of got off track there a little bit. Got a little, yeah, Artichoke showed his soft side a little bit. Alright, so, talked about music. I talked about using different basic simple art techniques to create terrain, using dice to mark encounters rather than buying minis, using the technology you already have to keep notes and track stuff rather than spending money on paper and pencils and maybe extra added expense for money that you don't have. And one of the other things that I can talk about with solo RPG that we could help us curve some expense. Well, one great untapped, I should say, resource that we have, and I urge you guys to check this out. Go to BoardGeek.com and just go in there and look up solo games or single player games or single player rules, and you're going to be amazed at how many board games you probably already have in your house that you haven't even thought about playing solo, because there's just no solo rules, that other people have figured out, and they've put these rule sets up and said, hey, this is how I do it, check this out, and you're going to be blown away. One of those games that I had picked up, let me show you this here, is this right here. It's called Hyperborea. Now, if you look at this cover, it looks extremely... It looks like a badass miniature skirmish war game. Wrong. It is a area of control board game that really, well, uses some small grid but uses a whole lot of markers. And you got some cards, you got some very small pawns that go on the board that resemble minis. So when they marketed this game, they marketed it towards the cover. How do I put this? The cover deceived a lot of people. And a lot of people like us, solo RPG players and miniature skirmish players and all that, when this first came out, this board game was like well over $100. And people bought it up, and then they were disappointed with it because they opened it up and they're expecting a miniature skirmish game, and what they get, this is a cool game. It's a very cool game. When I had got wind of it, I heard about it on Board Game Geek, and they said that it had tanked so bad that basically they were pretty much giving these away on Amazon. And I looked on Amazon, and Lord behold, I got this for $20, and it originally retailed for, I think it was like $120. So I mean, and so I got it, I opened it up, I went through it, and of course, it's for upwards to 1 to 4 players. So I jumped on Board Game Geek, and I found solo rule sets. And I started reading them, and they were good. I enjoy playing this game solo. I sit down and I set it up, and I have a blast with this. And it's a very cool game. It's not an RPG. It's not a game to where you're going to sit down and advance a character into the way that you're thinking you would with traditional RPG games such as Dungeons and Dragons or Palladium Fantasy. This advances much differently. And I'm not going to really get into that. If you want to hear more about it, let me know and I'll do a review on the game. But just where I'm going with this is the fact that some of the games you already have, you may have games sitting around your house right now that may take 2 to 4 players to play, and maybe you would be like, hey, that would be cool to play it, but I don't have enough people. Check out Board Game Geek. Go to their solo, go to the solo rules, and you're going to find it categorized them by game system, but they're there. And you're going to find there's multiple people that add different... It's like a forum. You go in there and you read it, and people will say, yeah, I tried this, but I did this, and I did this. So you kind of have to dig through there and read it. But the cool thing is, it's free. It is absolutely free. You go on there, you create an account, you don't have to buy anything, you don't have to pay for anything. It's all free, and you go in there, and you can find this. And at that point, you can now pull out some of these games and have solo rules, and not have to spend any more money that you may not have. So there's another way that, for us as solo gamers, we can save some money, and we can pull upon those resources to do that. Now, I've noticed recently of late, Questwise, he did a lot of different game reviews, and he's now starting to get into the solo RPG aspect of gaming as well. And I think he's finding too some of these resources such as Ironsworn and Mythic Game System and Scarlet Heroes, all of these with these game emulators that are out there, helping to maybe, well, pull some of these games off the shelf, set them down, and play them again, and have fun with them. That's what it's about. I hope this helps, guys. I really do. And wherever you're watching this from, whatever part of the world you're watching it from, thank you so much. And I hope you're healthy. I hope you're safe. I hope in time that this passes and we all come out on the other end a lot better, and we can look back and just jot this down in the history books as I lived through this and I'm stronger for it. So with that, I think I'm going to end the video here. I think I've jabbered your head off enough, and I'm looking forward to making some more videos as the week passes on. Of course, you know, that's... things are going to change here as they are, as like I said in the beginning of the video. It seems like every time we turn on the TV, stuff's rapidly changing. So, but I'm going to try to get out as many videos that I can. And as solo gamers, it seems like we're a lot of like-minded people. And I think this, you know, this is the time that people need to stick together. People need to... they need something in their lives to be able to vent on or distract them from what's going on in the craziness out there, and focus on something to help them relax and recuperate. So, with that being said, if you enjoyed my video, please click the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button, followed by the bell icon to get notified of my recent uploads. Alright guys, it's Artichoke Dip, signing off.